Hi everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be making another card using the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper, and I'm going to be doing something a little different than I normally do. So if you've not seen the previous three cards, I will leave some kind of an information tab or something on this video. Go into my Stampin' Up playlist and you'll be able to go back and see the previous three cards I've made using this Designer Series paper and some stamps, but I'm kind of trying to focus on using up the Designer Series paper. We buy this stuff, we love it, and then we don't want to use it, but I want to encourage you to use it, you know, no matter how small or a bigger piece that you're going to be using. Just get it used, it's beautiful and people will love it. So today's project, I'm going to be using a piece of the Designer Series paper, as I say, and I'm using this one that's Pale Papaya and Pear Pizzazz, and I've cut this piece already at 12 inches by 5.5 inches, and I've scored it on the 12-inch side at 4 inch from either end. And I've done that just in case the scoring is off ever so slightly, and then the card will fold without any kind of buckling or bunching on the inside here. I've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock, which is 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/4. This is going to go on the inside. And then I've got some shapes that I've die cut from Stitched So Sweetly dies. Now I have a feeling that these have retired. But I know lots of people bought them, so I know that you'll still have them. But you can use any shapes you want. I'm just giving you the basic idea for the card. You could even cut shapes with your ScanNCut. So but for this particular set, I'll tell you what I've used. I've used the biggest and the next biggest down of these shapes here, and I've used the label shape from here. And the biggest shape has been cut in Pear Pizzazz because that's the colour that's in the cardstock, and then the other two are Whisper White. But like I say, you can use anything you like. Just going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce map, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So the accompanying stamp set to this paper is called Artistically Inked, and it's beautiful. It really is a lovely set. I've got quite a few ideas for cards that I want to make with this set. But for today, I'm just going to be using the flower here, and the single leaf, and probably the hello. Oh, and I might try this little cluster of flowers as well. Just going to bring in my grid paper because I'm going to be doing some stamping off. So I'm going to ink up the flower in Pear Pizzazz. Actually, I don't need my Stampin' Pierce mat now because I've got, this is red rubber and it's got its own inbuilt cushioning. So I'm going to stamp this up and just put it in the bottom corner of this. Then on this one, I'm going to stamp it up and stamp it just to one side. Just going to bring in my chamois and clean this stamp. Then on the other side of this block I've got the leaf. I'm going to bring in the Pear Pizzazz. And just stamp a couple of the leaves. So that's that. And then for this one, I've got the little trio of flowers, which I'm going to ink in the Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to stamp off and then just stamp in the middle of this label. Then I'm going to bring in the hello, ink this up in Pear Pizzazz, and then just go over this in the full strength ink. So you've just got a little bit of interest on the background with the little muted flowers. So I'll tell you what I've done here. So as I say, this is a piece of 12 by 5.5. I put it in my paper trimmer and using the pale grey blade, which is a scoring blade. I scored it at 4, then I flipped it around and scored it at 4 again. And sometimes that just makes it, when you're doing things like this where it's going to fold over, it makes it a little bit easier, and then you don't get kind of like bunching here where your card's going to overlap. So I'm going to open this up. The first thing I'm going to do is bring in this piece of Whisper White, and that's going to be stuck in the middle. This is going to give you somewhere to, you know, put an extra greeting or write your words, whatever you want to do. Just going to use some of our seal and put that in. And by adding this extra layer, it's also going to make this card a little bit more substantial for standing. Then on the front, I'm going to bring in my 2 die cut shapes, and I think I'll just kind of position them near the bottom because I want the paper to be the main focal image. I'm going to stick the white one down flat onto the Pear Pizzazz, and then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. Just bring in my little box. I keep a little box on my desk to this little blue box. I don't know if you've seen it before, and it just helps me keep tidy because the backs of these dimensionals seem to get everywhere. And I'm just going to position this down near the bottom. I'm not going to position it centrally. In fact, let me turn it round that way because that's the way I stamped the leaves. Then I've got some linen thread. And I just thought I would tie a little bow and see how this looks. Not use this linen thread very much to be honest, and it's nice, it ties lovely. So let's just trim the ends, and I'm thinking I can just pop that in the corner with a glue dot. So I'm just going to bring in my take your pick tool, grab a glue dot, and I'm just going to kind of squash it up and make it tiny because it's just got to fit behind the knot of this bow. And I'm going to pop it just in the corner there where the white section goes to the green, and pop that down. Then this one, because your card opens like 2 ways, I thought that could just go in there, but again I'm going to pop it up just on a couple of dimensionals. And that can sit there. Obviously if you wanted to cut another matting layer, you know, in the green or the pale papaya, you could do. And then I think just to finish it off, I'll bring in some of our basic rhinestone jewels and my take your pick tool. Might put one in the middle and then just scatter a couple of these around just for a little bit of added bling. And that's today's card. So again, focusing mainly on using the designer series paper. If you want, you could round the corners, it's entirely up to you, but I'm just keeping it fairly simple. So we've got the designer series paper doing all the work for us. We've got a couple of die cuts with some a bit of stamping on, which is all from the same suite. When you open it up, you've got hello. And then when you open it up again, you've got a piece of white card inside where you can, as I say, add another greeting, write your words, and a little bit of a stamp flower down there to tie it all together. And because you've got this layer inside and you've got these layers on the outside, that will help your card stand nice and securely when it's on a mantelpiece. It just gives it a little bit of extra stability. So that's today's project. I hope you like it. Please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to go and have a look at the Stampin' Up playlist and go and look at the other 3 videos I've made using this designer series paper. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.